What is up guys, Zach here from the Chaos Galaxy, and today I'm back in Manchester for the Christmas break and I'm going to be starting a brand new series for you which I mentioned briefly in my last video, which was the Set 2 planet profile for the planet Roker. And it's going to be a speed art video in which I'm going to be showing you all the cards I've made so far for the Weatherman archetype. You can see them all here. Apart from Weatherman Snowflake, I'm not going to be drawing him because I didn't film myself making his artwork as I made him before I made the rest of the cards. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy this video. This archetype has had a really good response from you guys when I first showcased it in my last video. So hopefully you'll enjoy these speed art clips and hopefully get some tips from drawing as I commentate over them. Okay, so the most important thing I think about making an archetype look good is that all the creatures in the archetype need to have those sort of trademark features that are sort of the same throughout every single creature or card that's part of the group. So with the Weathermen, it was mainly about drawing cards made out of simple shapes that seem to be sort of floating in the air. So Weatherman, as you can see by Monsoon here, his body is just a perfect circle. And there are a few rectangles floating around it. Even his facial features are just sort of basic lines, but I think they work really well to make him look like a miserable character who just sort of floats around being pissed off at everything. And don't be afraid to use certain tools to your advantage, like using rulers or compasses or things to draw certain shapes. Makes the card look a lot nicer. Don't get this mixed up with tracing though, because that is cheating, and I definitely have no respect for you if you do that. So yeah, I've just drawn his outline in pencil and then I go over that in a fine line pen. I do this because normally when I go over things in pencil, I'll often rub stuff out in case I get it wrong. So that's why it's just good to do it in pencil first. And then I wanted them all to have a sort of flat colour look to them. So obviously because he's a sun, you're going to want to draw him with warm colours like oranges, yellows, sort of warm greys that I've done for his arms and his facial features, which I'm just drawing now. And yeah, just doing some like final shading in the corners around the outside of his body to make him look more 3D, because although I like the way I've drawn the Weathermen, they do look quite two-dimensional because they are just made of flat shapes. So I think shading was really important for them to make them have that three-dimensional feel. Okay, and then there's the final image. The next one I drew was Weatherman Clued. Again, starting out with the body and then drawing out from there. I think that's always a good thing to do when designing creatures. I started out with a basic, cartoon stereotypical cloud shape, and then I drew the arms, which were, if you notice, they're the exact same arms as they were for Monsoon. Again, just keeping things constant throughout the archetype. Also, notice how many times I redo the hands after I've drawn them. So that's 1 attempt, 2 attempts, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. You just need to get everything perfect. Drawing their arms 9 times. Hands are ridiculously hard to draw. I still haven't mastered it, but if you can draw hands, then you're sorted for making trading cards pretty much. Look how many times I draw the mouth and face as well. It's just getting everything perfect because the cards are so small, everything needs to be perfect. And then just going over him in pencil. I gave him a sort of happy look to keep him the opposite to Monsoon, but yet still keeping the same themes with the sort of trapezium shaped eyes and stuff constant throughout the whole archetype. And then I don't really need to tell you about drawing over him in pen, but then moving on to the colours, and then I'm just erasing the pencil behind that. And moving on to the colours, I wanted to make them sort of opposite on the colour spectrum to Monsoon, in greens and sort of more colder colours, and there's his final artwork. Okay, so the next card I drew was Weatherman Sunshine, and he was probably the easiest and quickest card to draw out of all the guys I've done in this video. He's basically just supposed to look like a load of sun rays, but like shining down, but he's really abstract, and I didn't really know what I was doing at the time. I think he came out looking a bit like the Atari logo, and I'm not a huge fan of his artwork, but that Atari thing was unintentional, and because I didn't really know what I was doing when drawing him, I gave him a sort of I have no idea what I'm doing or who I am look, with his hands shrugging and him having a bit of a dishevelled look about him. But I did try and keep him looking miserable, a bit like Monsoon, so you could see that the cards were related. I again used the warm colours like yellows, as you can see in his body, and reds for his facial features. But hopefully you can tell I sort of used a more dull yellow than I did for Monsoon to make him look a bit less powerful, because he has quite low stats. And then again, I'm just doing the shading, making him look more three-dimensional. And yeah, overall I don't think I did a bad job of him, but it certainly wasn't the best card. The next card I did was the combining creature for the archetype, Weatherman Rainbow. And as you can see in the corner there, there's some strictly classified set 2 artwork that I can't show you for the next few videos. But yeah, drawing the outline of this guy was really easy, but when it got to the shading, that was probably one of the most difficult things I've had to draw in the history of the Chaos Galaxy. But we'll get onto that later. So now I'm just drawing the outlines for the sun and cloud part of him. And I wanted to make them look a lot more basic than Weather Monsoon include, because you know they're not the main focus of the card and you want to be focusing on the actual rainbow itself. Drawing his mouth was so difficult to get right because his whole body is sort of curved down, so if you just draw a flat line, it makes him look happy because it sort of creates the illusion of it being curved upwards with his body going the other way. But I wanted him to have a sort of meh expression because Soon was sad and Clued is happy, so I wanted him to be halfway in between, and I think I did quite well for that. Again, drawing him in pencil first before going over him in fine liner. Also, I'm sorry for my face blocking the view of the camera for quite a few parts of this video. It's just this artwork in itself took me about an hour to draw, so sometimes I forgot that the camera was there and I leant in really closely to concentrate on the card, completely forgetting that you guys were watching. Also, you might be wondering about the top hat. I don't really know why I put that in, none of the other Weatherman cards have it. I just felt like there was something missing from the artwork, and you know, who doesn't look better with a top hat? And then onto the shading. This bit was really easy for the sun and cloud parts. I was just dreading getting onto colouring in the rainbow part because that was so difficult. I gave the top hat a little white box in the corner to make it look sort of shiny. I think that's a really good effect if you want to give something a sort of metallic or shiny effect. Now onto the rainbow colouring part. This bit was horrible because I really wanted to blend the colours in together and use every single colour of the rainbow. And this is really difficult because the Copic markers I have, although they're amazing and I live by them, they are quite difficult to blend because they dry out really quickly. So I had to sort of shade the rainbow in small sections and then blend that section into the last one and then really quickly get onto the next section so I could blend it into the other one before it dried out. And this is easier if you do it in small parts like I did in this video. As you can see, I didn't do one whole arc of the rainbow at once. I sort of did a half arc or a third of the arc and then blend that in with the last colour. And I did manage to pull it off quite well, as you can see there in the final image. Some bits are still a bit dodgy and you can see where I've tried to blend the colours in and it hasn't worked so well. But overall I am very happy with the way this artwork came out. And then the last card of the video, which also took me the longest to draw, was Weather Machine. And drawing the basic shape was quite difficult because of the angle at which I drew it. You had to get all the geometric shapes like really perfect, otherwise it would just look weird. And my course at university, product design, has actually helped me quite a lot with this, doing technical drawing. So I think I got it right quite early on. And drawing the details on the machine, I wanted to give it a sort of old look, make it look kind of like, you know when you see old 1940s or 1950s television sets from like war films and things like that. I wanted to give it that kind of feel with really big buttons and levers, because I think those things look really interesting. And I gave it a small little screen interface, and then onto that I drew sort of a standard Weatherman face to it looked like the other cards in the archetype, because you know, apart from that face you can't really tell that it's related to the Weatherman cards at all. Again, just drawing these huge levers. And if you're going to make a card like this, just go on Google and look up pictures of old TV sets or old computers, and they are really, really useful, because you know, like there's nothing that's going to inspire you more than the actual thing that you're basing the card off. So I would really advise you, whatever you're drawing, if you're just struggling for ideas, go on Google Images and look up the most similar thing you can find. Also, when I was going over this in the fine liner, my camera cut out for a bit and I didn't realise, so some of the footage has been lost there, but you don't really need to see that anyway. And then I gave it a little windsock. And then also for the more detailed parts, like those, like the nuts and bolts at the bottom, I did use a finer pen than the one that I'd done the rest of the outline of the image for, just because it would have looked a bit too crowded and not very good if I'd have used the thick pen to do really fine details. Also, one final tip when doing the outline with the pen, try and do the lines as quickly and smoothly as possible, because that'll just make your card look a lot more neat, and it's more of a confidence thing, so the more you do it, the more you practice drawing with the fine line pen, the better you'll be at it. Moving on to colour now, and one of the most important rules I've found with colour is the more colours you use, the better the card's going to look. And that's not to say just use as many colours as you can for the sake of it, but in this artwork I think I used 22 different colours, and 7 of those were different shades of grey. 7 Shades of Grey, new book confirmed. But no, I really wanted to give the metal parts of the machine a really like chrome shiny look, so just using whites and different shades of greys made it look a lot better. I also wanted to give it a sort of wooden look to some of the parts, because you know in old TVs the materials that they're made of are sort of like old nice mahogany, so I tried to give that a shiny look, as you can see by the ridge I've done down the middle, but it didn't really come out so well, but what can you do? And then using reds and things for the levers, just trying to make them look as classic and cartoony as possible, using big red buttons and the green ones. And then I gave the Weatherman interface a sort of blue colour because I wanted it to stand out, because it's the only sort of part of the card that resembles the Weatherman. Again, using bright colours like yellow and black for the warning signs. And this is quite interesting because it resembled the card's ability, because if you use the card's ability wrong, the card kills itself, so I wanted it to make the card look like it was a bit dangerous and a bit unstable, to reflect that. And then using more bright colours for the more odd parts of the card, like the light green for the sort of frequency screen, and then the orange for the windsock. And just using more colours just makes the card seem to stand out more, and I'm really happy with the way this artwork came out in the end. So thanks for watching, guys. Please let me know if you liked this video and if you'd like to see more speed art videos. Also, if you found this video helpful, if it gave you any good drawing tips or what you'd like to see more of. And apart from that, I've got nothing more to say, but please like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, and I'll see you next time. Bye.